Hello there, welcome to my review of the Rockford Files Season 4, Episode 19, The Competitive Edge. Written by Gordon T. Dawson and directed by Harry Falk. The episode begins in prison, but this time Jim is on the outside looking in. The man on the wrong side of the bars is Barry Browder, and his wife Joyce has hired Jim to find him. Browder was bounced around the system, hidden from his lawyer, and Jim is able to get him out on bail once he discovers him. But it's not long before he gets a call from Joyce saying that Barry never made it home. He was charged with stealing money from the bank he works at, a lot of money, and his car has been found at the airport. But Joyce is convinced something's happened to him and that he hasn't just fled the country. She suggests Jim starts with Lester Shaw, Barry's best friend.
Oh, they met at Barry's health club, the Alphian Way.
And after having no luck with Barry's lawyer, Jim does just that, conning his way in.
Did a Mercedes come in here with a guy in a dark suit driving? The counterman at the liquor store down on 4th. He came in, bought a newspaper, and left his wallet on the counter.
Then pretending to be a reporter in order to have a poke around.
What, do you think I could have gotten through the gate if I'd told him I was a reporter?
He meets Shaw and Dr. Herbert Brinkman, claiming to be doing a story on Barry, but is quickly given short shrift.
Mr. Vanders, this is a private club. I will not allow this intrusion on its members.
Noticing the high-profile clientele of this exclusive club, Jim manages to convince them to give him a tour.
Come on, don't tell me this is just a cover-up for some very elite hanky-panky.
On the surface, it appears to be a boys' club, disguised as a health club, where, in essence, high-profile businessmen network and do all kinds of deals they can't do in public. But when Brinkman gets a call from Barry's lawyer telling him who Jim really is, Jim's quickly thrown out. This all could still be on the level, entirely unscrupulous, but no more so than any other gentleman's club. However, there are 2 points that make everything about the setup suspicious. Firstly, that Barry is still missing, and secondly, that these types of organisations always have something to hide in television drama.
Now, Jerome here is going to give you a little adjustment on the house.
It's these 2 factors that allow the episode to go on for so long, almost halfway through, without anything really happening, as the only people watching the episode not to be suspicious of the exclusive club are people who already belong to an exclusive club, and in order to be exclusive, that would only be a very small percentage of the population. You don't have to be a conspiracy nut to suspect that the rich and powerful do all of their most important deals not out in the free market, where just anyone might make money from it, but restricted to places that don't allow the ordinary hoi polloi to advance.
Our membership is limited to 36 at any one time.
And the writer plays with that assumption to spend time setting the stage. It's risky, but I think it works really well. With Jim still snooping around, having not got the message, Brinkman decides to take charge of matters, telling Shaw he's going to pay Rockford off.
What are you going to do?
Buy him off, of course.
And Jim has worked out that the good doctor is lacing his clients' health shots with speed to really give them the get up and go that they all have.
Those vitamin shots you get every morning are laced with speed.
And to keep them coming back. Shaw thinks it's all on the level, and it's just a little legal insider trading.
Herb is a power broker. He puts together sweetheart deals.
Robert Hogan, who plays Shaw, does a fantastic job of playing the sucker, and he's able to make it clear that he doesn't know how nefarious Brinkman actually is. He's a true believer, even when presented with contrary evidence, and when Jim tells him he's a junkie, despite denying it, he gives the subtlest of hints that maybe he's considering that he's wrong. It's a brilliant performance in a relatively small role, but it comes far too late for Jim, who we next see tied up at the Alphian Way. Brinkman reveals himself to be an egomaniac, who fully believes he should be running things. Lots of things.
Which means that someone like you could have been running the country.
That's not a bad idea.
And has even justified doping his protégés.
If anybody gets hooked on anything, it's on producing results.
He also happens to have a brother who runs a mental hospital. A crooked mental hospital. And this is where he's stashed Barry. And he's sending Jim. This is where the episode gets a little One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, as Jim wakes up in the asylum with Dr. Carl Brinkman attempting to medicate him into a stupor. And after 10 days of what the doctor thinks is forced medication, he's able to join the general population, acting like a zombie for the benefit of the staff. He finds Barry and quickly comes up with a plan to escape. With Jim starting a small riot amongst the other inmates to cause a distraction, Barry is able to drug the staff's coffee and swipe the keys. With the staff out for the count, Jim is able to find one of the staff's car keys, but is forced to take some inmates with him. Pursued by Brinkman, Jim, Barry and 2 of the other inmates make it so far as a police barricade. The police initially don't believe a word of what Jim has to say, but thanks to some swift talking and the fact that one of the inmates he took with him is actually an undercover reporter, it appears the Brinkmans are finally exposed.
I'm Robert W. Zachary, Sheriff, and I'm going to get the Pulitzer Prize for this one, gentlemen.
This is a great episode, which admittedly does have a very slow first half, but more than makes up for it with the pace of the second. My only real criticism is that it might have been nice to devote a little more screen time to Barry, as we only really get to know him through his wife. I think it would have been better if he'd been established as an old pal of Jim's to help us feel more attached to him from the very start, but this is a minor complaint. The way they managed to flesh out Lester Shaw just enough so that we initially believe he is just a side villain who probably set Barry up for a quick buck, only to find out that he too is being manipulated by Brinkman and could easily have been in Barry's position had fate gone a little differently, is beautifully written and performed. The demonstration of the banality of evil through Brinkman is also very pleasingly subtle. His ego demands that he is in the right with everything he does, regardless of the harm it does to others. And it's not grand evil gestures, but small and simple things, giving his clients a small dose of speed, simply moving a troublesome person to a mental hospital out of sight, out of mind. He doesn't kill anyone, he just sends them to his brother to rot. While the portrayal of the mental hospital borders on the cliched, it never quite crosses that border into stereotype. We really don't spend much time here either, which I was glad of, because I personally find that sort of situation in drama to be frustrating to watch. We get just enough time with the just slightly off characters. One who thinks he's Doc Holliday, one whose identity is completely unknown, the mute who turns out to be the reporter, one simple but harmless guy, and the man who thinks he's James Bond and is the fly in the ointment when he informs the second Dr. Brinkman of the escape, thinking that this Brinkman is M. None of them are painted as cartoonish though, and the episode uses the time to advance the story rather than to make fun of them. With a plot that could have easily outstayed its welcome, the end comes at just the right point, and the story is pleasantly concluded. So this is an easy 5 out of 5 for me. Thank you. Goodbye.